Hi all, my name is Haley Comet and welcome to my cosmic corner of the internet where we discuss all things astrology, and today all things Leo new moon, July 28th, 2022, and you, where this heart-centered, generous, creative, authentic, bold new start is forming for you as well as collectively. This lunation is one of the most positive, optimistic, fresh starts of the year. We are taking it sign by sign so you can see what area of your life is particularly supported as you move into this sunny, authentic, new start within your world. And not only that, not only are we exploring this energy collectively as well as sign by sign, we have created an entire Leo new moon ritual for you. And when I say we, I mean myself and Ailsa Burns. She is a yoga instructor. Super excited to be collaborating with her. Go ahead and give her a follow. Check out all of her yoga flows. She is absolutely brilliant, and I'm really excited to be collaborating with her, especially on this sunny, heart-centered Leo new moon. And we have collaborated to create this entire series of videos. How it'll work is like this. So firstly, watch this video and pay attention to what words or themes really ring true for you, both in the collective reading as well as the sign by sign. Maybe you jot down certain words or images or thoughts that resonate, and really pay attention to what sort of creates a reaction within your body, what makes your heart beat a little bit faster with excitement when you contemplate if that would be possible for you. What is it that your instincts feel drawn to? Like with Leo new moon being the heart space and Jupiter and Aries being our rawest instincts, really important to tune into your body and what it is that it says when I deliver this information, when I deliver these messages. So firstly, you'll go to this video. From there, you'll head over to my Self-Care Astrology YouTube channel, which is a YouTube channel that has astrology anchored yoga flows and meditations. We have a quick Leo new moon flow that is very heart-centered, that is all about getting you into a warm, strong space for you to be in, to then go to Ailsa's yoga channel where she has prepared a beautiful Leo new moon yoga nidra. And if you are unfamiliar, yoga nidra, it's also sometimes called yogic sleep or deep relaxation. It's essentially a form of meditation, you can call it, with a lovely script that really dials in the themes that I've been expressing and gets them into your body, gets them into your subconscious, gets them into your spirit. So I'm so excited for you to embark on this Leo new moon trilogy of videos. And without further ado, let's dive into collective themes. So the Leo new moon exacts July 28th at 10:55 a.m. PDT at 5 degrees Leo. Now, Leo is a very heart-centered energy, hence why I keep referencing, where is your heart? What makes your heart beat? What makes your heart speed up? It really speaks to our rawest essence, because the sun is in its rulership in Leo. A new moon is just the sun and the moon together, right? And the sun cannot help but to shine. It just radiates its light purely, boldly, and authentically. And that's what this Leo new moon is asking you to do. It's asking you to come back to the purest parts of your being, the parts of you that are just the person that you are, who you were before the world told you who to be, and allowing yourself to shine brightly, not apologizing for shine. It's offering you this fresh start around reclaiming those parts to you that you could have felt like you had to dim, that sacred flame that burns within you. Because Leo corresponds to our joy, our play, our creativity, and furthermore, allowing that light to radiate and shine without fear of judgment, knowing that the best gift that we can give this planet is the gift of being authentically ourselves, because it frees other people to be authentically themselves as well. So this Leo new moon is a fresh start. Where have you been dimming your shine? Where have you let the judgment of other people make you get smaller rather than standing firmly within your power? Where have you been censoring your art or your words in order to make other people more comfortable? Where have you squelched your inner child, trying to always be so serious and so somber, forgetting to just play, forgetting what it is that just makes you happy, what makes your heart beat without judgment? These are all questions and themes to really anchor in with this energy. And the only aspect that this Leo new moon makes is a trine to Jupiter in Aries. Now, Jupiter is a very optimistic, meaningful planet that allows us to expand into where it is that we were fearful of? Like I said, where have you been dimming your light? And how can you choose to shine brighter? Because Jupiter in Aries is a fellow fire sign. Fire doesn't think, right? It just burns. And I want you to remember the essence, the person that you are, your personality, rather than censoring yourself to make other people more comfortable. This is a courageous fresh start for you to reclaim the wild parts of your being, or the raw parts of your being, the creative parts of your being, and to not have fear. Jupiter in Aries, for all of us collectively, you can take a deep dive into that there, but Jupiter in Aries is speaking to this call to be more courageous, that our blessings, that's the energy of Jupiter, are waiting us on the other side of what it is that scares us. That's Aries answering to Mars. It's asking us to be bold. Not everybody will necessarily resonate with your shine, your glow, your talents, but the right people will. And trying to appeal to every single person is simply going to water down your essence, your personality, your gifts. So Jupiter in Aries does speak to boldness. It speaks to authenticity, and it creates this very optimistic fresh start. And it's interesting that we have this lunation at this time, because there's a lot of wacky astrology happening at this moment. A couple days later is when North Node conjoins Uranus on the same day as the Leo new moon. We have Mercury squaring Uranus. And whenever we have Uranus stuff, it's ups and downs. It feels chaotic. It feels crazy. And we can view that like, oh, the world is so crazy. I just need to lay back and go with the flow and do nothing until it's safe to go out. Or you can be like, wow, the world is so chaotic and crazy. I need to seize this present moment. I cannot go into environments where I do not feel celebrated, where I do not feel appreciated. I cannot go into environments and fake it. We purely do not have the time. And when things are as crazy and as chaotic as they are in the cosmos, like at this moment, you can view this chaos and allow it to descend you into fear, or you can choose to shine brighter, choose to be the way shower within your chosen craft, choosing to continue to hold that vibration of authenticity and creativity, allowing your art or your play or your joy to warm the lives of other people, while many people are dealing with very warranted feelings of fear. Like, you can be that light for other people, and you can be that light for yourself. I remember a couple of years ago, the astrology was pretty crazy in 2016 as well. And I remember just feeling this sense of freedom around, it felt like the world was falling apart around me. And certainly that elicited a lot of fear. But once I got to the other side of the fear, I was like, suddenly I just don't care anymore. Like, I just don't care about fitting into social norms. I simply do not care about being liked by every person. The world feels so crazy right now that I do not have the time to pretend to be someone that I am not. I do not have the time to not seize every moment and every ounce of joy and of play for my existence. So I just do want to highlight, given the astrology of the moment, it does feel like things can be turbulent. And when you feel that call to withdraw, like, oh, things are so crazy, I need to conserve my energy, do you, or do you need to shine brighter? Do you need to continue to illuminate your life force? Do you need to continue to conquer challenges and be creative and find play and find joy for yourself, as well as to radiate it for other people? So while the astrology does feel rather chaotic, this new moon is the sort of bright spot in the midst of it. And the rest of the 2022 is a little intense, but I really want you to create intentions on this Leo new moon to return back to the person that you are in its rawest form, without the judgment and the opinions from other people. What is it that makes you happy? What is it that makes your heart beat faster? What is it that you pour your heart into? What art? What topics? What is it that just makes you feel like the most pure version of yourself? What did you love to do when you were a child? I want you to get back to that authentic part of your core and really set the intentions to continue to stoke that fire within you, the sacred flame of your own authenticity, as we move into the rest of the year. Well, before I take it sign by sign, I wanted to share the Sabian symbol for 5 degrees Leo. So if you're unfamiliar with Sabian symbols, it's essentially a downloaded or transmitted imagery associated with each of the degrees within astrology. And if you're familiar with my work, you know that I am a traditional astrologer. That is how I was trained. But the Sabian symbol craft. It was a more modern technique. It was actually created in 1925. It's always resonated with me because it was actually downloaded and transmitted in San Diego and very close to where it is that I live. So I always felt connected to it in that way. And essentially an astrologer, Mark Edmund Jones, paired with a clairvoyant, Elsie Wheeler, they basically went through every single degree within the zodiac, and Elsie basically said what it was that she saw, and it kind of gives more depth to each of these degrees, and sometimes it can be significant on lunation. So I'm going to be sharing that. It's fun to have in your astro toolbox. You can look it up for significant placements within your chart to get more context around it. So the Sabian symbol for 5 degrees Leo is rock formations at the edge of a precipice, and this sort of imbues this intensity to this new moon, right? While we are optimistic, there's this courageous new start that's building within our world. It does give this crisis energy. And like I said, a lot of the cosmos feel very intense. Things feel very turbulent and feel very erratic. And there could be this moment around staying away from the edge, like, oh, life is so crazy. I don't want to risk it. I don't want to challenge myself. I just want to stay within my comfy little box. Or we can be like, okay, things are so chaotic and erratic that I don't even know if I have time to not risk it and live my life to its fullest. Because when I think of the Sabian symbol, while it does elicit these feelings around being very conscious of our mortality and how fleeting it is and how fragile it is, which many people could say is existential or scary, it also is like, okay, if we know with certainty that we are going to be unalive one day, that gives us the permission and in fact urges us to seize life. Like we could be fearful of that inevitable day when we are unalive, or we can use that knowing that that is on the precipice. That's true for all of us, every single person on this planet. No one gets out alive. And we can live our life out of fear because of that, or we could seize this particular moment to its fullest, taking risks, having fun, celebrating our joy, putting out controversial art, so long as it feels like an authentic representation of you, being our fullest, most embodied self, and not apologizing for it. Because our time on this planet is brief, and the Sabian symbol does sort of speak to this energy around being on the precipice of this enormous cliff and realizing how fragile mortality is. And you can use that and use that fear as excuses as to why you need to stay safe, or you can use that as a request for you to really live. So I encourage you with this new moon, life is too short for you not to seize the person that you are, the essence that you carry. Take the risks that call to your heart space and make time for what it is that makes your heart happy. Leo celebrates their own inner child and creativity for no reason, and doing the things that just make us happy and allowing that joy and that play to radiate out. And while things are intense, do not apologize for your joy. It is needed in times like that for you to be able to hold that vibration, for the people around you, for the collective at whole, and continue to nurture that flame within yourself. So I'm going to take it house by house. So I will be listing potential rising signs, but go by where you have 5 degrees Leo within your chart. It is earlier degree, so many people, if you use Placidus house system like I do, it won't be so cut and dry. Like for example, I'm a Virgo rising. By whole house, this would be in my 12th house. But I use Placidus, so if we actually look at my 11th house, 5 degrees Leo is actually in my 11th house. So I want you to look at where you have 5 degrees Leo and listen to that house placement. I will be saying rising signs for those who use whole signs, as well as for those who do not know, cannot find 5 degrees Leo, just make it easy. But I want you to go by where you have 5 degrees Leo if you use Placidus. If you use whole sign, just find your rising sign and you're perfect. So first, we'll explore first house. So this is for my individuals who have 5 degrees Leo in the first house, potentially, if you use whole sign, Leo rising. So if you have this new moon within your first house, This is a fresh new start around celebrating the person that you are and not dimming your light. You've had, because we're, coming out of Cancer season, you've had the sun in your 12th house, which can be kind of a time of retreat, of kind of coming inward. You can feel a little bit more isolated from other people. And essentially this time of year is sort of timed with your rebirth around putting yourself out there, being visible. And as a Leo rising, you are here to shine, truly. And this new moon is a really fresh start. Honestly, you can make this work for you in a myriad of ways, but it's a fresh start around identity, how it is that you want to be seen, where it is that you've been dimming your light, where it is that you've been playing it safe, and choosing to allow yourself to be seen for your unique attributes, your unique qualities. This new moon does trine Jupiter, which will likely be in your 9th house. So it pulls in these themes around attuning to the big picture. So I really encourage you during this new moon, taking a little siesta after you do my yoga flow and then Elsa's yoga nidra, like taking a time to be like, okay, what are my bigger picture priorities? Where is it that I find meaning? And where am I playing small within that? Where am I dimming my light to make other people more comfortable? Where am I dimming my light out of people-pleasing tendencies? And how can I choose to shine brighter? Some Leo new moons, if you have been wanting to sort of invest more time and energy into your personal aesthetic in order to feel more confident, this is a really supportive time around any intentions around, gaining weight or losing weight, or if you want to start paying more attention to your hair, your clothes. Leo is a very confident, bold energy, and I really want you to set the intention around finding an aesthetic and a way of expressing yourself that just makes you feel like you, rather than squeezing yourself into trends that aren't good for your body type. Like, I really want you to set the intention around, I want to feel confident, I want to feel bold, I want to feel me, and I want to realize the beauty that is just cherishing myself. If you have 5 degrees Leo within your 2nd house, likely Cancer rising, but not always. So this is a new start around income, around money, around value. So with this Leo new moon, firstly, I want you to look at how it is that you've been valuing yourself. Leo is the energy of the lion. It is the king and the queen of the jungle, right? It fearlessly owns its leadership and its ability to be its own authentic self. And with it in the 2nd house, yes, that has to do with money. We'll get to financial indicators in a moment. But firstly, I want you to take a look at how it is that you value yourself. Are you seeing yourself as the king, the queen of your own reality? Like, do you generally value your glow, what it is that you offer this world? And if that answer is no, I would really encourage you during this lunation to really set down the foundation around honoring your own value, realizing the glow, the radiance that you bring to this planet via your skill sets, via your skills, and genuinely valuing yourself. This is the house of possession. So for some people can make an intention around a possession of something that, really makes your heart happy. Of course, there is financial indicators, and it is significant that this lunation links to your 10th house of career and public persona. So for my individuals who have this energy in the 2nd house, if you have been unhappy in your career, this is a really positive time to recognize your worth, whether you feel like it's being recognized in your pursuit of getting money in order to survive, and allowing yourself to perhaps expand into a new position if you don't feel like your value is being recognized, or ascending to a new level of leadership within your position, within your industry now. This is a heart-centered, fresh start around being able to feel confident, being able to infuse what it is that you do for work and what it is that you do for money with this sense of joy, with this sense of play, with this sense of creativity, and allowing your value to be genuinely seen and compensated. And something I love about Leo energy, as it's answering to the sun, is that the sun gives, right? It's a very warming influence. So not only is it focused upon how is it that you are, receiving compensation, how are you receiving adoration for your skills and abilities and values, it also brings into focus how is it that you are giving with those resources. So for some, this could be a new start around being more generous with your resources, or around being able to give more. Giving and receiving is really supported here. Any intentions around calling in new sources of income that genuinely values what it is that you have to offer, because you have much to offer. calling in new sources of income or new jobs that allow you to infuse your creativity, that allow you to be seen for your glow, as well as that allow you to expand into your legacy with Jupiter in the 10th house. You have 5 degrees Leo in your 3rd house. You could potentially be a Gemini rising, but not always. And for you, this is a heart-centered fresh start around how it is that you communicate, how it is that you inform this world, the person that you are, and the creativity that you exude. For some with this, you could be a writer or just like a natural storyteller, since you do have Leo within your 3rd house. And I would also just encourage you to really celebrate and radiate in the narration of your life. So 3rd house is also sort of like our mental space. So paying attention to where it is that you're dimming your own light by being self-deprecating. Like when someone compliments you or congratulates you, you feel the urge to be like, well, this isn't going great. Like where it is that you dim your own accomplishments, I want you to work on receiving kind words, as well as communicating your own mental language, whether it's like journaling or just talking with other people, really allowing it to celebrate your own natural abilities, your own natural radiance, and not allowing yourself to play small via your communication. This could be a great start around anything having to do with marketing, having to do with sales, having to do with how it is that you communicate online. Can be a really great start if you've, been playing it small within your niche around just creating the content that everyone else creates. This is a heart center new start to be like, okay, what's special about me, and how can I infuse that into my social media strategy, into my public relations strategy, wherever that could show up. If you are in these industries, this could be an aligned new start to call in a new occupation in regards to it. I also want to bring in a focus that it trines Jupiter, which is in your 11th house of hopes and dreams for the future, as well as colleagues, contacts, and friendships. So this is also an aligned time around being more social and really allowing your social connections to see you in your fullest radiance, calling in individuals who hype you up rather than make you feel small, really calling in and celebrating the connections of people who feel like-minded, who want big things like you do for your future, who are ambitious, who are driven. And 3rd house has to do with neighborhood as well as siblings. So for some of you, you can be calling in some intentions around this, whether it's, repairing connections with a sibling, wanting to be in a neighborhood that genuinely makes you feel safe and cared for, and it is a conducive environment for you to find play and creativity. Those are also supported with the 3rd house. But largely, I want you to focus on how can I communicate more of who it is that I am through my language, whether it's in my internal monologue, my journal, my social media presence, in communication with individuals. How is it that I can follow my interests boldly? So investing in that new class, investing in that new course, that certification program that allows you to feel more authentically yourself. Like for example, you've always had an interest in Taekwondo. Maybe this is a new moon that you devote yourself. Like, I am going to pursue this. Like, this has always been something that makes me happy. It's a very raw part of myself. I used to love doing it when I was a child. Let me set the intention to call that into my life, as well as calling in any new opportunities in regards to media, marketing, and communicating your truth honestly and authentically. So if you have 5 degrees Leo in your 4th house, potentially a Taurus rising, but not always, to where you have 5 degrees Leo, this is a fresh start around the most raw, private parts to yourself. So this is a fresh start around, what does home look like? What would home look like to me in a place that I feel fully free to be my most authentic self, my most uncensored self? For some of you, you could be calling in a new living situation, whether it's buying a home or finding a new renting situation, perhaps calling in new roommates. But I want you to center this idea around an abode and a sanctuary that makes you feel free to be the person that you are, that is conducive to play, that is conducive to joy, that is conducive to creativity. So if you're a singer, really manifesting during this new moon, seeing that studio in the corner of your home. If you're an artist, really manifesting a place where you can put your easel. If you're a writer, a little window seat where you can read and write. I've always wanted a window seat. But I want you to really focus and draw into focus what your ideal home would be. For some, this could be an energy around either repairing or creating some distance away from familial figures. Now, this won't be the message for every single person, but for some during this time, you can find that it is important for you to be able to have a good relationship with family or with your lineage. So there can be a call during this time to plant seeds around really nurturing a strong connection. For some, maybe that peace and that ability to be fully yourself, maybe that looks like some physical distance. So really with Leo, it is about realizing the radiance that we give and allowing our shine to radiate out, right? Without censorship. So for some, if you find, I just cannot be myself around you, it's either a time to reclaim that, where you can fully be yourself around family, or perhaps say, you know, I need a little distance. I don't feel safe to be the person that I am, so on and so forth. And it also speaks to your emotional state. So for some during this new moon, I really want you to get back to the rawest parts of yourself. Inner child work is really supported here, as well as just what it is that you are, what it is that makes you happy, where it is that you find joy, and committing yourself to that. This is a very private new moon for you. So it's not necessarily about planting seeds around things where everybody sees and everybody claps, but things where it's like, I feel my happiest when I'm rollerblading. I'm going to make more time to rollerblade. I feel my happiness when I'm writing. Like, though centering those feelings of joy without it being necessarily tied to external validation or results, like really planting the seeds around what is it that makes you happy? And how is it that you can honor those parts to yourself? Really going back to your upbringing and really like dialing in any ages or any times when you were told you're too much, whether you're too emotional, you're too dramatic, and really comforting your inner child through that. Like, Leo is an energy that, yes, maybe is a bit over the top and extra, but it's theatric, it's creative, it is bold, and you feel deeply. And maybe this new moon is a new start for you to just claim that part to your being ferociously and authentically. I want to draw into focus that it does trine Jupiter, which is transiting your 12th house. So this can be a time around finding more comfort within your solitude, connecting deeper to your spirituality, and allowing those 12th house pursuits of, you know, what's hidden and subconscious processing, allowing that to feed and nourish your private reality. Like, for example, maybe this is a time that you set up, you know, a spiritual altar where you can connect to your ancestors, or a time that you do like a self-care oracle spread to really dive into what is it that is going to make me happy deep down to my rawest core. So I would really encourage that. For some people, it could be calling in a fresh new start of a place where you can be alone or have more solitude. That is important with Jupiter transiting your 12th house. And the Leo new moon is a really great time to sharpen into focus where it is that you want to live, and maybe a place where you feel more safe to be yourself, as well as have solitude in order to rest and rejuvenate. So really great time to have a vision board around where is it that you would want to live. And dream big with Jupiter and Aries. It's not letting us play small. So if you have 5 degrees of Leo in your 5th house, you could potentially be an Aries rising, but not always, so make sure to check your unique chart. So for you, this heart-centered, generous new start is taking place in the 5th house, which is around creativity. So for those who have this is a really great time to set intentions around your art and allowing yourself to be bold, because it's linked with Jupiter, which is likely transiting your 1st house, which 1st house is around identity. So with these two linking, it's like, okay, how can I be more fiercely myself within my art? Like, where am I playing small within my art? How can I push the boundaries of what's possible for me and my art within my art? Like, with these two, it's really about getting to your rawest truth. What is it that just lights you up? And following that, because outside of just self-expression, 5th house is also play. It's also joy. So really getting back to the most fundamental parts of your being, and where is it that you find play? Where is it that you find joy? Where is it that you just glow, you just light up? For some who have been trying to conceive, this is a very supportive time, because 1st house also has to do with physical body. This is a very aligned time to call in children, because 5th house, children, 1st house, physical body. Jupiter is literally expansion. So not always, but sometimes Jupiter in the 1st house can indicate certain parts of our body expanding with conception. So that won't be a message for everyone, but I just want to say, if you've been trying to conceive, this is a really ideal time to plant the seeds around calling in a baby, or if you have children, calling in a connection with them where you feel you feel safe and able to be your full self around them, to impart them with confidence and authenticity. And what I really want to say with this lunation is I want you to get back to your joy and to your play. It's so important if you have Leo in the 5th house, around doing things that have no value within the external world, that are not productive in the slightest, that are just for your own sake. Like, I want you to plant the seeds of calling in more of that and realizing not only can this be helpful around generating new creative ideas, it also helps you be more magnetic with Jupiter in your 1st house. Like, I don't know if anyone else has felt this before, but I've noticed that I get the most sales, or the most people are drawn to my work, not when I'm like glued to my computer working, but like in the days that I like take a day off and go to the beach, or I'm like rollerblading, like days when I turn my logical mind off and I'm just playing. That's when you're the most magnetic. So I know that's not feasible for every single person, but I would really encourage finding some time around the Leo new moon to do something away from your computer, just something for you. Take yourself on a play date, do something that makes your inner child happy, because 5th house, in addition to children, it's also our own inner child. So it's like thinking back, like, oh, I used to really love rollerblading when I was younger. How can I encourage more of that? 5th house is also romance and passion. So also an aligned time to call in a summer fling if you so desire, because with it linking Jupiter in 1st house, like, be confident, put yourself out there, and remember what an asset that you are to date, truly, and get back to how it is that you express yourself, how it is that you present yourself to this world, and get back to your magnetism, because truly your life force is your magnetism. So this is a new moon to really plug into where is it that I feel the most magnetic and radiant in myself, and how can I nurture more of that within my world. So if you have 5 degrees Leo in your 6th house, you could likely be a Pisces rising, but not always. So make sure to check your chart if you do use Placidus system. So with Leo new moon in your 6th house, this is calling in a new start around your daily routine. This could be a new start around, I am worthy of having a daily routine that makes me feel like royalty every single day. We can't forget that Leo is the royalty archetype. It is being the king and queen of our own life. Hence why I wore this headband. I mean, it's not a crown, but it was the most crowny thing that I own. And such is the nature of Leo new moon. It's ascending, and the only option here is really to shine brighter. It's not to dim our shine for other people. So since it's in the 6th house, I really want you to up-level your daily routine and know that you are worthy. Like, you are worthy of not filling your lungs with smoke every day. You are worthy of eating foods that are nutritious and delicious. You are worthy of practicing your craft of singing every morning. Like, you are worthy of creating a routine that celebrates the divinity and the specialness that you carry. Because self-care isn't just, bubble baths and chocolates. It's also having discipline enough to reach our potential in order to be the royalty of our life. So I really want you to anchor in this heart-centered start around, how is it that I'm spending my days? Like, is this how the highest version of myself would spend their days? Like, how can I carve more time for creativity, for play within my daily life? Because it's not saying I'm not one of those like, get up at 5 a.m., drink green juice. This could also be like, rather after work than scrolling TikTok for an hour. Maybe it's like getting your rollerblades and going to the park. Sorry, I keep mentioning rollerblades in this video. I just love rollerblading, so it's what keeps coming to mind. But grabbing your bike and going to the park before checking your phone, before doing anything, because you are worthy of play. You're worthy of finding pockets of joy within your everyday. 6th house is also coworkers. So for some of you, it could be about being able to rise up to a position of leadership around coworkers. If you've been manifesting an assistant or someone who will work for you, this is a really aligned new moon to call in those employees or people that you want to hire. This is also a great new moon around any health manifestations. So if you have been struggling with any health stuff, really align fresh new start to call in radiant and impeccable health for yourself, as well as just habits that are conducive to health. 6th house is also our physical active working. So for some individuals, you can be calling in a new job, and particularly a new job that really celebrates and invites in more creativity, maybe more authority, more leadership opportunities. This new moon does trine Jupiter, which is in your 2nd house of money and finances. So for some of you, this can be a really aligned time to move into a work position that is more lucrative, or to ask for a raise or something of the like. And just remember, be the authority, be the royalty of your own world. Like with Leo new moon, it's really a time to celebrate our radiance and celebrate the inner royalty within us. Last manifestation is, I just want to say, if anyone's wanted to get a cat little kitty cat or a dog. 6th house is the house of small animals, and Leo obviously is a lion, which is a feline. So just very supportive there as well. So just wanted to put that out there. So if you have 5 degrees Leo within your 7th house, you may be Aquarius rising, maybe not, but this message is for anyone who has 5 degrees Leo within their 7th house. So for you, this authentic new start is building within your 7th house of relationships, one-to-one connections, and partnerships. So I really want you, rather than focusing on the what, focus on the who. So rather than planting seeds on, I want this job, plant the seeds on, I want to work with these particular clients. And you don't have to think of their names. You could just think of, I want to work with women between these ages who are passionate about these themes. Or like, let's say you want a contract, you know, like 7th house is also contract, so beneficial time to plant the seeds there. But rather than just focusing on the piece of paper, focus on the person who's handing that contract to you, like the person at the company that you want to work for, or the agent that you would want to represent you. Like, rather than focusing on what it is that you want to invite into your life, focus on the who. So who is it that you would be working with? Who is it that you would be working for? Who is it that you would be partnering with? Who is it that would benefit from your work? Get really clear on the people that you are drawing in, because that's what's particularly magnetic during this transit. And for any of you who are content creators or anything of that nature, this lunation links your Jupiter in 3rd house. So this could be a really beneficial time around expanding your content, like expanding, going viral or something of the nature, but really centering it around the individuals whose lives you want to impact or entertain with your content, or with how it is that you're communicating, as 3rd house is the house of communication. Love-wise, because yes, with this new moon, it can be very possible for you to call in a lover, a soulmate, because 7th house is one-to-one connections, like very serious ones. And so with the Leo new moon, like really calling in a connection that allows you to be your most radiant self, someone who meets you on your energy. Because like I said with Leo new moon, it's either they can meet you on your glow, or they need to leave your life. Like, what we are not doing this Leo new moon, trining Jupiter and Aries, is dimming our shine in order to make other people more comfortable. So for some people who are committed, this could be an energy around, if your connection has not been that, this could be a time that you plant the seeds around calling in a connection that is, or around calling in more authenticity and more communication as well within your connection, as Jupiter and Aries in the 3rd house is very supportive of that. If you have 5 degrees Leo within your 8th house, this is a very deep lunation for you. And what I want you to anchor into is allowing yourself to establish more of a sense of trust, okay? Trusting other people. Like, this could be a time around calling in more people who support you, whether it's people who financially support you. Like, for example, if you are creative of some sort, calling in backers for your project, calling in investments, if you're an entrepreneur, money that comes to you from others who support your idea, who support your leadership, anything of that nature. It can also be a time of calling in just more support offered to you, whether it's through government assistance or inheritances or loans or anything of that nature. 8th house is also the house of taxes. So if you've been dealing with any tax stuff or any litigation stuff, this is a new moon that could be helpful for you to be able to wrap up those ongoing issues in a harmonious way. And what I want you to sink into is really allowing yourself to feel trusted by the universe, because for those who have this, who have been struggling with fears, truly, around not wanting to fully live because you might be scared of being unalived, or just dealing with fears, or fearing a loss of control, or feeling really out of control of your life, this new moon really allows you to release fears of the past and allow yourself to feel safe, trusting something bigger than yourself, whether that is people or whether that's like the universe at large. And for many who have this, not everybody, but for many who have this, you'll be a Capricorn rising, which can be very challenging because you guys do like to be in control. So this new moon is asking you to get comfortable with being uncomfortable and to feel safe, trusting in it, to feel safe, being able to follow your own instincts, and to take risks also with this trine to Jupiter and Aries in your 4th house. Like, allow yourself to feel supported through this transition and calling in more faith faith in the other side, as well as calling in depth into your connections, feeling safe, trusting. If you want to do like a ritual around calling in more income for your spouse, also very supported with this lunation in your 8th house. Another manifestation that I want to draw into focus, because it's linked with Jupiter and Aries, which is likely in your 4th house, the house of home, and 8th house has to do with loans. So if you've been looking to get a loan for a home, this is a really positive new moon to manifest around that, as well as if you've been looking to get like if you've been looking to get like your spouse's income verified or get like a co-signer on a loan to rent a place, that's also very supported during this new moon. Leveraging loans, leveraging, debts in order to encourage a more healthy living environment. So Jupiter and Aries in the 4th house is also family. For some, you could be calling in money that your family offers to you or gives to you, or that you inherit in some way. Not that you would manifest anything bad happening for you to be able to inherit it, but it is a time around feeling safe to receive from other people and knowing that you are worthy of receiving from other people, whether it is financial assistance from your family, whether it is financial assistance from the bank through a loan so you can buy your dream home, whether it is financial assistance from a spouse or emotional assistance from the spouse, as well as just spiritual support from the universe. It's a time to feel safe, trusting, and feel safe in the changes and the evolutions that are taking place right now, because I promise this transformation is happening for a reason. If you have 5 degrees Leo within your 9th house, you will likely be a Sagittarius rising, but not always. So make sure to check your chart. So for you, my Sages, you're gonna like this. You all are having this really lovely fresh start around your big picture reality, around traveling, around academia, around reorienting yourself to the big picture. Like I said in the collective reading for this Leo new moon, which I deeply recommend you go check out, the Sabian symbol associated with this is like being on the precipice, and it views this energy of being aware of our own mortality, and rather than using that fear as an excuse not to live, it's like diving deeper into living even more intensely, even more boldly, even more urgently, like living and squeezing out every moment of life. And for you, this lunation is an opportunity to get out of the day-to-day, which P.S. you guys have had North Node in the 6th house most likely, so you guys have been in the everyday and being asked to dial that in. But with this new moon, it's like a temporary vacation to sort of just take a step back and be like, whoa, let's say, I'm not saying this is going to happen, but let's say if I was going to be unalived tomorrow, like where would I have regret? Like what life experiences would I wish I would have had? What would I wish I would have made time for? That retreat to Bali, that exploration into astrology, that PhD. Like what is it that you would be like, oh dang, that was like something that really had meaning for me, that really established a sense of faith within the big picture for me. And with this new moon, it's an opportunity to get back to that, and to create more time for play and like those higher level philosophies and beliefs that mean a lot to you, because this lunation links to your 5th house of self-expression, of creativity, of play, and of romance. So it really is a time for carving out more time for meaning, for exploration, for attuning to your own personal sense of truth and philosophy, and allowing yourself to stoke that sacred flame within you of what it is that gives you meaning. What is it that makes you feel connected to something bigger? Where is it that you find your sense of play? So on and so forth. So aligned intentions around this. For some, if you've been trying to get into some sort of like higher learning institution, it could be really supportive for intentions around that. If you've been trying to travel anywhere, it could be very supportive around that. If you've been wanting to get any like certifications or dive deeper into spiritual topics, very aligned time to create new moon intentions around that. So if you have 5 degrees Leo within your 10th house, so most likely a Scorpio rising, but not always, so check your chart. This message is for you. For you, where you're having this fresh new start, this rush of fiery, heart-centered, authentic energy is around your career and around your public persona. And it's so fascinating because a lot of people who have this will be Scorpio rising, not everybody, but that always is interesting to me because like Scorpio risings do deeply want privacy, and with Leo in their 10th house, it's typically this energy around, they want privacy, but parts of their legacy make them be visible and make them be seen for those abilities. And particularly with this lunation, I want you to pay attention into where you are dimming your light at work or around authority figures or in career, like where it is that you feel like you need to stay hidden or behind the scenes and allowing yourself to be seen more visibly. If you've been calling in more opportunities around like the media or how people see you, this is an aligned time for that. If you've been wanting to manifest career success, I mean, that is such a beautiful time. And particularly if that career involves Leo-like themes. So creativity, heart-centered self-expression, play, boldness, so on and so forth. It's a very aligned, fresh new start around calling in those themes. It links your Jupiter, which is likely in your 6th house. So it is really aligned in calling in work environments that allow you to be more authentically yourself, as well as calling in people that you work with or people that you hire, that you are allowed to fully arise to your fullest leadership ability. Because yes, Leo is a very creative energy, but it's also about leadership. It's also about being able to lead and way show for other people. So I said this earlier, but I'm going to say it again. With this Leo new moon, there are 2 options. It's either those that we lead rise up to our shine, or they are not meant to be in the picture, right? Because with Leo new moon, this is not a time to dim your light. This is not a time to play small. With Jupiter in Aries, this is a time to really dream big. Like you may just be focused on, okay, I really want to write a book. Why not focus on it as being a best-selling book and a part of a trilogy that sells millions of copies? Like dream big. Know that you are worthy of your desires. They picked you for a reason. So dream very big when it comes to career. If you've been wanting to really allow your glow and your attributes to be seen by an authority figure, a very aligned time for that as well as calling in any new career opportunity or any career success as a whole. So if you have 5 degrees Leo in your 11th house, you may potentially be a Libra rising, but make sure to check your chart. So for those who have this Leo new moon in 11th house, this is a really lovely opportunity to call in heart-centered connections, people and colleagues and a community that makes you feel like you can be your rawest, most authentic self, an audience that celebrates and appreciates your creative work, or, being able to lead up a community or some sort of organization. This links Jupiter and Aries in the 7th house, so it is a very aligned time to focus upon the people that you want to call in. So with 11th house being large audiences, rather than focusing on, YouTube, it gives you a little plaque if you reach a certain amount of subscribers. Rather than focusing on the plaque, focusing on the audience that you want to cultivate, the sort of vibe you want to create amongst your subscribers. Like the manifestation here, and I said this for new moon in 7th house too, it's not so much about the what, but of the who. And for you, it's about people to a broader extent, like audience, people that you can lead, people who can appreciate your creative work, as well as just like friendships. So if you don't feel like you have a community that really celebrates your heart-centered glow, your shine, you feel like you have to censor yourself, you feel like you have to be less of yourself when you're around other individuals, this is a very aligned time to call in very heart-centered, supportive connections. As well as if you've been wanting to make a difference in the world, like this is the house of humanitarian causes. So this can be a aligned time to either set manifestations around a community or an organization that you want to be a part of, as well as leading organization. If you've wanted to create some sort of community, you've wanted to cultivate some sort of like-minded audience, this is a very aligned time and really honing in on the people you want to reach, the like-minded individuals who would benefit from your glow, from your radiance, from your leadership. And with it linking Jupiter in Aries, this is just such a beneficial time to enhance your friendship groups. And it's not to say that you need to like release all your friends. Like new moons are about planting new seeds. So it's not necessarily about removal, but I want you to really call in friendships and deepening of friendships that allow you to be your most authentic self, that celebrate your radiance, that you feel free to be your most playful, silly, authentic, sunny self, and really celebrating those connections within your world. And truly 11th house is hopes and dreams. So I just want you to focus on dreaming big for your future. I want you to like ask yourself, if anything that I touch turned to gold, what would I dream about? What would I focus upon? What if I was the Midas of my own life? Like, dream big during this influence. It's trining Jupiter and Aries. There is this urgency sort of baked into this lunation. And with it, it's like, why not dream big? Leo is the royalty energy. So if you've been struggling with like imposter syndrome or like, am I worthy of my desires? This is a time to be like, yes, I am worthy. These desires were given to me for a reason. They are not random. Let me dream big and know that I am worthy of leading in this way, or creating in this way, or exhibiting joy in this way, or fostering a community in this way. You are so worthy. And if you have 5 degrees Leo in your 12th house, you may potentially be a Virgo rising, but not always. So if you use Placidus, make sure to check it out within your unique natal chart. But for you, this is a very hidden, private portion of the chart, and it's not so visible. So it can be confusing, but it is powerful. This is a time of year that you could find that you are really called to sort of withdraw, to be a little bit more introspective, to spend more time in solitude. And with this new moon there, you could feel this call around feeling more comfortable within solitude, and around planting seeds, around feeling more supported by the universe. For some, you may find that you're planting seeds around, I really want to develop my intuition. I want to strengthen my craft. I want to feel more supported by my ancestors. I want to be able to delve more meaning out of my dreams. I want to share this with you because I heard this recently and it blew my mind. So I went to this event and the practitioner said, do you dream? And I said, yeah, everyone does. She's like, not everybody does. A lot of people do not remember their dreams. And if you remember your dreams, you are a messenger. And you are doing yourself a tremendous disservice if you don't honor medicine and the message that is embedded in the dream. And that blew my mind because I dream every single night. So if you too dream, this can be a new start around calling in more of a connection to your dreams. If you don't dream, calling in perhaps more dreams. 12th house is the in-between state between sleep and consciousness, and the wisdom that can come from within. So really an aligned time to call in any sort of modality that you felt called to connect to spirit within. Really aligned time also to acknowledge underneath, where is it that you're suppressing your own glow? Many who have this will be Virgo rising, but everybody who has this will have at least part of Leo within their 12th house. And Leo is our shine. It is our glow, and you have it in the hidden house. And I found Virgo placements, people with Leo in the 12th house, struggle more than others with imposter syndrome because they are so concerned around being helpful, and sometimes they don't acknowledge the glow that they present. And 12th house is the house of subconscious processing. So it also plant the seeds around, where is it that I'm playing small? Where is it that I'm talking to myself and telling myself that I'm not capable, that it's not possible for me? What would it look like to have a monologue that genuinely supports me and uplifts me every single day? 12th house is also sort of the skeletons in our closet, where it is that we need healing. So with this Leo new moon, knowing that you are worthy of healing, you are worthy of dealing with the skeletons in your closet, rather than suspending yourself in perpetual busyness, which I know you guys have been dealing with a lot because you likely have Saturn still in your 6th house. That's been a real struggle. But with Leo new moon, it's realizing that you are worthy of having spaces of solitude, of connecting to your spirit, of devoting to your healing. Like, you are worthy of having those in-between spaces of being a conduit for spirit, as well as connecting deeper to spirit, ancestors, mediumship. Like, 12th house is the ultimate woo-woo house. So I'd really recommend during Leo new moon, either spend time with your craft if you do have one, or call in manifestations around, I want to improve my skills in reading pendulum, in reading cards, whatever it is that makes you feel connected to something bigger, as well as building your confidence from the inside out. So 12th house is what's under the surface. So it's like, are you your own biggest fan under the surface, or are you your own biggest hater? And can you plant the seeds during this time to be your own biggest fan? And as well as, this is linking Jupiter, which is in your 8th house. So allowing yourself to call in support from other people, support from the universe as well, knowing that you're not in this alone. So loves, this was so much fun diving into this with you. Please make sure to go check out the Self-Care Astrology Leo New Moon Yoga Flow, and then head over to Ailsa Burns' Leo New Moon Yoga Nidra. I'm so excited for you to experience her magic and this little ritual that we've co-created for you all. So my Instagram handle is @HaleyCometAstrology. My TikTok is the same. All of Ailsa's links will be below. I can't wait for you to experience her yoga nidras. I've been obsessed with them for about 8 months or so. So I'm so excited for this collaboration. I'm wishing you all such a beautiful, heart-centered, generous, fresh start of this Leo new moon. Please let me know what resonated below and what you're doing to celebrate. And until we meet again, drink lots of water and stay magical.